Hey there, Pigcake from 17 years ago here with another video. JK, that was a prank. That was a prank. Uh, because that's how I used to do videos. Could you imagine? Could you imagine only showing my chest? So today I have a little bit of a hot trick for you guys. It's a variation on a trick with a magician that you should know very well because I made a video about him, I believe, yesterday. Now, I've been told that I should only make evergreen content on YouTube, meaning that it's content that you could watch without context. However, I don't know how to YouTube correctly, which should be obvious watching my videos, right? So it's on Jerry Andrus. There's a variation of a Jerry Andrus trick, and you're going to see that it's a fairly novel one. So let's just get into it raw, no intro, like my parents did to make me. So here's the trick, boys. I say boys because my audience is 98% comprised of men and 2% comprised of boys using their mother's accounts. But here's the trick. We're going to have a normal deck of playing cards, and you could actually have this deck shuffled by different participants. So you're going to have different participants mix up the deck as best they can. And here is where you could do an amazing trick with these particular cards. So we're going to take the cards back after all these four spectators have shuffled them, and we're going to have somebody pick a card. Let's say they happen to pick that one. Then we're going to have somebody else pick a card. So one person picked the Nine of Hearts, the other person picked the Ace of Spades. Look at how clean these cards go in the middle of the deck. Look at how clean they go. Absolutely no control whatsoever. Those cards are in there deep, boys. Look at that. My hands are completely empty. How about that for controls there? Jeremy Griffiths, huh? How's that? So look, I'm gonna just mix these cards into the deck further, sir, and we're gonna try a little bit of a hot shuffle here. I don't know if you've seen this, but it involves me shuffling the cards directly in half, and we'll do it this way, sir. How about you cut the cards anywhere that you want? Let's say the spectator happens to give them a cut here. You're just gonna mix these two packets of cards together, and then you're gonna square them up. This might be easier said than done, but it does provide for a slightly chaotic situation in mixing of the cards, just like this. There are cards going every single which way. There's no organization. But sir, this has actually led us to a very interesting point, because watch this. I'm just simply gonna push these two packets through each other. You see this? They're going right through each other, sir. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but we usually call that coitus. But in pushing them through, sir, I hope you noticed that some cards stick on the other side, some cards get lost in the middle. And I think we've actually come to a wonderful coincidence. Because if we turn this pile over, sir, I want you to notice that there's only the red cards, apart from one black card, which happens to be the Ace of Spades. And in this pile, if you haven't figured it out already, there's only one red card amongst the blacks, and that is the Nine of Hearts, the card that you chose, sir. Now, this is based on a trick called Satan's Selection by Jerry Andrus. He also has a Satan False Shuffle. I believe that's a very interesting one if you want to study his particular works. But the setup for this is going to be very easy. What we're going to do is we're going to take half the red cards and half the black cards. And we're going to take a set of jokers and place it right here. And then take the remaining cards of whatever color and place those on top. Neatness counts. So now what you have is a deck of cards that's divided black, followed by two jokers going the other way, and then red. That way you're going to be ready to introduce this wonderful variation of this classic trick. So at this point, you're going to take the cards out of the box, you're going to spread them through, and notice that there are two jokers. And also notice that you're not subscribed to the Pigcake Magic Academy, where $5 a month gets you 2 videos every single week going over card and coin stuff. You have access to over 800 videos, including the piggybacker tutorials, which I haven't posted anywhere else, friend. You get access to all of that for only $5 a month. You should join. The link is in the description below. You notice that the two jokers are face up, and you're going to take that and put that aside. But what that leaves you is with a pile of black cards here and a pile of red cards over here. So now I could square these cards up and get a break underneath these bad boys, and I could hand it to different spectators to shuffle. If I only have 2 participants, then I'll just say, you know what, I'll divide these cards about in half and give them to you. Of course, you're not dividing them about in half, you're dividing them exactly in half here. So you're going to give that to one participant for them to shuffle and have the other participant shuffle that. Now, if you have more than one spectator, maybe like 4, you could hand quarters of the deck out to each one, and you could have them shuffle. The way you do this is you hand half of the cards that are above the break to one spectator. Then you have the remaining cards above the break to another spectator. So they're only shuffling the black cards. Then you take the remaining cards in your hand and give those to two other spectators, and you're good to go. The only thing you have to do is when you pick them up, you have to pick them up in a way that the red cards, of course, go together and the black cards go together as well. So now I've actually retained my break and I've kept it because I'm going to have one spectator pick out a card from the top half of the deck, and I'm going to do the world's easiest classic force with the lower cards of the deck, as you're going to see in a moment. So I'm going to spread these cards out and tell a spectator, I want you to pick one of these, and that spectator picks that one. And then I'm going to spread through these cards and say, I want you to touch one of these. Go ahead. I don't say I want you to touch any card, because then they're going to reach over here to the top half. You want them to take an opposite color card, in this case a red card. So you say, do me a favor and touch one of these. And the only cards that I have them and I present to them are the red cards. So they have no choice but to touch a red card. Now, at this point, I'm going to pick them up in opposite. So right now, the card that was last picked is the King of Hearts, which is a red card, which is going to go contrasty, which is going to contrast the top cards of the deck. So I'm just simply going to take this card and place it in the upper half very cleanly. And I'm going to take the second card and place it in the lower half. So that's all I'm doing. There's no control here whatsoever. I could very cleanly square these cards up into the middle and then square up the cards on a table, because I'm not doing any control whatsoever. Those cards are just going in to the opposite packets. So right now, if we spread the cards, we actually have a bank of blacks, which usually means that some shenanigans are going to go down, right? Then we have some red cards and a lone black inside of the group of red cards. So that's what we want in this particular situation. Now we're going to do a false shuffle, whatever false shuffle you want. This is just simply a Frank Thompson false cuts, swing cutting a third of the deck to my hand, swing cutting another third and keeping a break, dropping the half that's on the table, getting all the cards above the break, dropping that, and then finally dropping all these cards. Simple as that. At this point, I'm going to divide the deck in the separation. You can do this in a number of ways. If you want to do the cheap and lazy way, just spread through the cards until you see the divide between the cards and separate the cards that way. Or if you want, you could just simply riffle up the back until you see a black card, the second black card, because you're going to see one run through approximately in the middle, and that's where you divide the deck. Now at this point, here is the Jerry Andrus little false shuffle that he had in that wonderful trick. You faro these halves together. It doesn't have to be a perfect faro, and you're going to have the spectator cut the cards. So now it doesn't matter where the spectator cuts the cards, because all the red cards are going to be here and all the black cards are going to be here. So if I shuffle the cards together, it doesn't matter, because the red cards are sticking to the red cards and the black cards are sticking to the black cards. So it's a wonderful little way of shuffling the cards like this. But all the black cards stick together and all the red cards stick together as well. One thing of note for this particular shuffle is that it's a lot easier to do on a close-up pad rather than a wooden table or a knockoff wooden table from Amazon.com. So it's definitely something that you should do maybe on a soft, smooth surface like a padded thing rather than an actual hardwood table like this. So what you're going to do at this point is you are going to either separate the halves, whatever you want to do, or you could go through this little push-in dodge. We're just simply going to take both halves after you square up the deck, and you are going to do the world's worst push-through shuffle, in the sense that you are going to make sure that both halves are seen going through each other, and you're going to pull them through just like you're doing a false shuffle. However, this one you're doing openly and saying, if I push these two packets together, I want you to notice that some cards get stuck in between. Now, if my calculations were correct, we should have exactly 26 cards on each pile. As a matter of fact, this pile is only comprised, even after you guys shuffled, of black cards, apart from one lone red card, which happens to be the card that you picked, sir. And this pile is only comprised, after all your shuffles, of red cards and only one black card, which happens to be the card that you picked. And you have a nice little bit of a coincidence there with this wonderful trick and variation of Jerry Andrus's Satan selection. Well, my friends, that's the end of the video. That's the end of the trick. That's the This is the time when we say goodbye to each other. And I just wanted to take the time here at the tail end of this video to tell you how much I appreciate you. That's right, you over there sitting on your parents' basement couch with Doritos all over your fingertips, and the breath of Mountain Dew. I appreciate you, and I want to take the time here to say thank you. Thank you for watching my video. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Hope you guys do all the things that people do when it comes to videos. Me, I'm going to go figure out different ways to pop a Zanny. Half a Zanny got me out like a light. So I'm going to find ways to pop half of a Xanax and have it make me get turned off like a light bulb. Okay. Apart from that, whew, I don't know what else is going on at the tail end of this video here. Usually have like a little quip here to say at the end, just to make sure that people are in fact watching well through the end of the video, especially when I make references to this last bit. Look at this. Look at that thing. That's like a shin limb move, right? Does this make me look like a cute Asian if I do this? Does that make me look like a cute Asian boy doing this split move? Technically, no, I'm not a cute Asian. I'd be a cute African boy by all technicalities, right? Caribbean African boy. I think this has gone on way longer than it needed to, but let's see how long we could keep this up. What are you guys into, huh? What are you guys getting into recently? I've gone into Black Wish coffee, Death Wish coffee. That's something I've gone into massively. Drinking. I've been drinking quite a bit, as you could tell by the bags under my eyes. And it's not a problem. I'm not an alcoholic, but it's just a fun pastime. And I'm making up for all the time that I didn't drink as a previous straight edge person. So now I'm making up for all that time. Imagine, right? I spent essentially dozens of years literally not drinking. And then one day I decided, you know what? I think that's long enough. And I've had nothing but fun ever since. So I highly recommend it. I highly recommend it. It's definitely a fun pastime. In moderation. In moderation. Definitely a fun pastime.